In the Middle East, much of the media focus in this current conflict between Israel and Hamas has been on the death tolls on each side. But what this reporting neglects to mention is Hamas's destruction of its own people. Legitimate governments understand that one of the most important duties of any nation is the protection of its people and the protection of innocent civilians. Israel goes to great lengths to avoid targeting civilians, from its use of precision-guided weapons to sending out phone and text warnings to evacuating buildings before it carries out a strike. Yet Hamas's leaders are willing to sacrifice their own people in an attempt to score political points. Hamas continues to force civilians, including women and children, to stand in harm's way and literally act as human shields for the terrorist leaders and properties, causing Israeli strikes on legitimate military targets to result in the loss of innocent lives. As General Conway, the 34th Commandant of the United States Marine Corps, recently wrote in the Wall Street Journal, there is a clear and obvious, quote-unquote, moral chasm, he says, between Hamas and Israel. Hamas has always targeted civilians, and they continue to target civilians. It is their standard operating procedure, and it is one of the reasons that makes them a terrorist organization. Sadly, though, what we are seeing in this conflict is nothing new. This is the third time in less than 6 years that fighting has broken out between Israel and Hamas. In order to secure peace and stability in the Middle East, America, our allies, and anyone else truly concerned about the safety of civilians on both sides of the border should focus on keeping weapons out of the hands of Hamas's leaders. We must condemn anyone, perhaps most importantly, Iran, who is supporting and arming Hamas. Iran supplies Hamas with rockets and training. Just yesterday, Iran's supreme leader declared on Iranian national TV this quote. He said, "Everyone, whoever has the means, especially in the Islamic world, they should do what they can do to arm the Palestinian nation. The Zionist regime deeply regrets starting this war, but it has no way out." We must stand strongly with Israel as it exercises its legitimate right to self-defense. We must call on the international community to join us in condemning Hamas for their human rights violations. Everyone wants the current conflict in Gaza to end, but how it ends is critically important. The conflict can only be truly over when there are no rockets, there are no tunnels, and when Hamas has been completely disarmed and defeated militarily and politically. And with that, my gentleman from Utah, I yield back the balance of my time.
And we thank you, Ms. Walorski, and beautifully said.